Hello, I'm here to talk about a little more inflation stuff and a little more wealth preservation, and I want to explain a little bit about different silver stuff. So I'll start with what junk silver is. Junk silver is any coinage that's 1964 or older. Prior to that, it all had coinage, American coinage, I should say, U.S. coinage. It all had 90% silver in it. 1965 hit, then they had severely less silver in the coinage, if anything at all, as time went on. So I'll just show an example of that. Here's a pre-1964 dime or 1964 or older dime. This here has a melt value of roughly $1.50 for this little dime, just because of the silver content in it. This here is a 64 Kennedy 50-cent piece. This has a melt value of $7 in it, just the straight up melt value. 50-cent piece, Kennedy 50-cent piece, 1964 or older. Melt value, $7. This here is a Morgan silver dollar. This has a melt value of $14. 90% silver, melt value is $14. It's just called the Morgan silver dollar. And then here, I want to talk about, this is a quarter. This is 1964 or older quarter. I actually believe this one's actually 1964. This has a melt value, 90% silver, so melt value of $3.50 for this quarter. So if you think about it, if you're working in 1963, 1964, the minimum wage was $1.50 an hour. You're receiving 5 quarters, 5 of these, 1964 or older quarters that are 90% silver, and they're valued at $3.50, just the melt value of them. That equates to you making $17.50 an hour. That's back when money was money. It wasn't just fake fiat currency. It had nothing valuable in it. Our coinage doesn't have anything valuable in it really anymore, like it used to, like it should, like it was written in the Constitution, that silver and gold should be used as money and nothing more. And then that was changed. Everything was taken out. So now, whether your minimum wage is $8, $10, whatever it is, it's still less than it was in 1964, 1963, when minimum wage was $1.50. It actually was a lot more because it equated to be $17.50 purchasing power, because it was 90% silver coinage you could get for that. That's how the wealth gets taken from people, along with printing. Counterfeiting money, I call it, when they do quantitative easing, they call it. Nowadays, it's actually just printing money or adding digits. And when they do these stimulus packages, like the last one for $2 trillion, which equated to being $8,000 for every man, woman, and child. And from that, few people qualified, got $1,200. And then if they had children that qualified, they got $500 per child. That's crumbs compared to $8,000. That equated to every man, woman, and child. All that money, I would say almost all that money, went to the banks and the politicians and those in charge. Inflation, once it gets to us, gets circulated around, we're the ones that are paying for it and are going to continue to pay for it, and that's how government gets money. They get some through taxes, but it's mainly through the hidden tax called inflation. They say, well, 2% yearly is needed. Not really, because if you think about it, 10 years go by, pretty much that's 10% inflation, or 20% inflation that's happened. So your purchasing power is worth 20% less than it was 10 years ago. just under the standard 2% inflation they want per year that's needed, they say. It's not needed. It actually, I think it should be illegal. But anyways, I'll just show an example here of if you look at this, I'll try to get, this is just a quick representation of, if you can see it, $20, what it could buy in 1998, 2005, and 2014 for groceries. That's amazing. It's the same $20 bill. What happened? Prices didn't go up. These things here can buy less because it's just paper, fiat currency that holds really no value. If people were paid in stuff that had value, like it used to be, 90% silver through the coinage, or if the dollars, the fiat currency, was backed by gold, as it used to be, then there wouldn't be any of this worrying about how am I going to preserve my wealth and keep from this system bringing me to the poorhouse and taking all this from myself, my children, and my grandchildren. Because every stimulus package that happens, government has no money. They have zero. All they have is the ability to tax us and then the ability to print and counterfeit. And that causes everything that we have to become worth less and less. And we have less and less purchasing power because of that. That's it. There's nothing more. But anyways, I showed you what junk silver was. 90% silver in coinage, anything 1964 or older. And I just want to show a few more things. This here is a buffalo. It's called a generic round. This is the most common one. US, most common. This is basically 100% silver. I believe this is 0.99939, so it's 39 silver. So if the melt value of silver is $18, this has $18 melt value to it. That's the value, and there might be, if you get from a dealer, a little markup. So maybe this would be, if it's $18 silver melt, this might cost you $19 or $20, depending where you're at. Maybe 23, or excuse me, 21. $3 more is what I meant to say. This one here is a Canadian maple leaf. This is a 49 silver. I really don't see much difference between this and that buffalo in the percentage of silver. They're all basically treated as the same. They're all just the highest percent silver you can get. So if the melt value of silver is $18, this might cost you $2 or $3 over that, over spot. That's what they call that. Spot price is melt price. This one here is a Silver Eagle. Again, this has the same amount of silver, same purity as the maple leaf and that generic round. They're all just, this one holds a little more premium to it. So, for example, if a buffalo, if silver's at $18 standard price, melt price, whatever you want to call that, that buffalo might cost you $20. The maple leaf might cost you $21, and the eagle might cost you $22. There's, it varies from dealer to dealer and places you go, but that's roughly the difference there and how much extra you could look to pay for those. The difference is, around the world, everyone knows what this is. Everyone accepts this as being, it is what it is. So it's easier to pass, easier to get through there. You don't have any, people say, well, I need to test it, I need to check it out. Give me a few minutes, it's just accepted widely as it is what it is. Same with this. This is almost as accepted as the American Eagle. And then this is just a generic round, which are accepted everywhere. It just might take a little more time to check to make sure it's legit. and not something that was counterfeited. Which they're all basically the same. They're all troy ounce silver, 1 troy ounce of silver. It's just the difference of what's the most recognized, and it really, really doesn't matter when it comes down to it. It's just a personal preference of what people want and what they want to hold, really, in my opinion. So, with that being said, I'm trying to make sure I went over everything. I see one other thing I just wanted to show here. This is a 10 ounce bar. This is 10 ounces of silver. This is an Engelhard. It's from the mint is Engelhard. These are no longer being made. The mint's no longer. But these are sought after. So if the melt price is $18 an ounce, this is 10 ounces. This would be $180 you can get just to bring it in for melt. But this is going to cost you more because there's a premium to it. It's an Engelhard. There's more generic 10 ounce bars out there, which would cost a little less. But that's what it is. So just keep that in mind. You want to preserve your wealth. Always try to get out of the system. Stay out if you can. Banks, if they hold your money, it's no longer considered your money. It's considered their money because you're loaning it to them. So that's why people have issues and problems. Sometimes if they want to pull out a certain amount, they can't. They might have to do it through a few days or a few weeks. They have to sign papers if they want to pull out a large amount at a time. Even though you put the money there and you thought that money was yours, once it's at the bank, it's no longer yours to the full extent you thought it was. So keep that in mind. If you have silver or gold, you can hold it, you can store it in your house or store it somewhere else safe. You own it. You have it. No one can take that from you. So keep that in mind. It's a way to preserve your wealth, along with other things, whether that is land or a plethora of other stuff, to try to stay out of the system as much as you can. So keep that in mind. Until next time, stay vigilant, preserve your health, and preserve your wealth.